Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here with you. I'm following up on a theme that we've been touching on quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. We had a guest speaker who talked about the dance of love last week when we were talking about the Article 2 changes and changes to the language that our denomination holds up as central. The new language is really focusing as love being at the center of all that we hold dear. So today I'm taking that topic because I don't know that we can think too deeply about what it means to be love. And I'm looking at it from a little bit of a different perspective. So the question is, what do you think of when you think about love? What images are conjured up? Is there a physical sensation in your body when you think about love? Is it an idea? Is it an ideal? Is love something that happens in the actions that transpire between people? For me, love is all of this. I experience physical sensations in my body when I love. And I've had the good fortune to feel my heart beat madly more than once in my lifetime. I've felt my heart melt when I've held a child in my arms. When I'm loved, I feel safe and I feel cared for. I hold the idea and the ideal of love as something that's worthy of my time and my energy. Becoming a more loving person is something that I aspire to. I long for a world in which everyone feels loved and feels worthy of love. Yet by and large, I have considered love to be something that's intangible, something that I really can't see or touch. So I was intrigued when I unexpectedly came across another way to think about love, and it was in a rather thick textbook that I was reading called The Neuroscience of Human Relationships. And the author of this book says that when we interact with others, we are impacting each other's internal biological states, and we are influencing the long-term construction of each other's brains. When those interactions are kind and compassionate, in essence, this is how love becomes flesh. And it seems to me that this was the message that was central to Jesus' story. We're told that he was the Word made flesh, and the word that was central to his message was love. His teachings were all about right relationships, about love, about loving each other as we wish to be loved. So love can become flesh. It can become real and tangible through our interactions with one another. And just like the story of the Velveteen Rabbit, our loving can help make others feel real. We can become love, each and every one of us. And we're reminded in this community, in different words, pretty much every week, that we need each other more than we know. That statement has always resonated with me. So I was really delighted to find this view lifted up in a science textbook of all places. So I want to share just a little bit more from this text. Relationships are our natural habitat. We need each other and our stories to discover ourselves, to regulate our emotions, and to heal from traumatic experiences. Humans serve as external neural circuits that we can use to help each other bridge disassociated neural networks. We provide each other with new ideas, and we help each other to get in touch with feelings that we may be unable to access on our own. When loving beings link their brains with ours, the result is a vital integration. Yeah, think about this. This is a science textbook. This is the kind of science I kind of am glad is being taught, right? When you feel heard, when you feel seen by someone else, something powerful happens. We can use our interactions to help and to heal one another. Human brains have vulnerabilities and weaknesses that only other human brains are capable of mending. So this textbook went on with a little bit more that I thought was pretty interesting. Like every living system, the brain depends on interactions with others for survival. Each brain is dependent on the scaffolding of caretakers and loved ones for its growth and well-being. The brain is a social organ of adaptation built through interconnections with others. We need each other more than we know. So look around this room right now. Take the time to really turn around, move your body if you have to. Look at everybody in this room. And friends at home, look at the people on the screen, or look at who you might be with in your own physical space. Recognize the role that you are playing in each other's lives simply by showing up and being in community with one another. Evolution has shaped us to love one another. We're hardwired to love. We cannot survive, we cannot flourish without love. You know, think about what happens when a parent or a grandparent or a neighbor or an aunt and uncle holds a newborn baby and smiles and coos at that child. With good enough parenting, all of those sensory signals get turned into patterns that go into the brain of the baby and stimulates the baby's brain in a way that informs that child that they are welcome, that they are seen, that they are wanted, that they are loved. The baby's brain is being shaped by the patterned, repetitive stimulation of the interactions from the parents or caregivers, those who are loving that child. You know, it's certainly the hope that every single child that comes into the world would have that kind of welcome, that kind of reception, that they would be absolutely delighted, be held in delight by those who care for them. But we know that that's not the case in all situations. But the good news is that throughout our lives, our interactions help to shape one another. What this means is that the impact of less than desirable parenting can be mitigated by the ways that we interact with each other now. In some ways, there may be a great deal of patterning that needs to be reworked, but child psychologist Bruce Perry tells us that relationships are the agents of change, and the most powerful therapy in the world is human love. And Bruce Perry has done a tremendous amount of work talking about trauma and what it means to heal from that. I have a lot of respect for the work that he does. Our actions are said to speak louder than words. And if that's the case, then what are we saying to one another right now? What are we saying? What did you say this morning when you woke up? What is it that we're saying to each other in our families, in our neighborhoods, in this community, in the world at large? When we greet each other with a smile, an extended hand, speaking to each other with honesty and kindness, asking after one another's well-being, these are ways that we create patterns that invite healing and healthy growth for one another. When we have coffee hour, when we have potlucks, when we have all of those times that bring us together for social activity, all of those things are more than meet the eye. We need each other more than we know. And it's no secret that in this culture, we experience a high incidence of psychological distress, addiction, and violence. And anybody who's come through the pandemic, which is every single one of us, recognizes what what that impact has had on us, that isolation from one another for a period of time has had an interesting impact, and on many of us, a very difficult impact. And the radical individualism that's embedded in our national psyche is too often at odds with what our real biological need for interdependence is. The recognition of the importance of interdependence that's lifted up in our principles is one of the countless reasons why I really love this faith. We know that we need each other to survive. So let's use this community as a place to practice the kind of love that heals, so that we are equipped to take that kind of love out into the rest of our lives, whether it's our workplaces, whether it's in community meetings, whether it's in the voting box. Let's take what we practice here, get really accustomed to knowing what it means to love one another in honest and sincere ways, and take that out into the rest of our lives. Don't take lightly the ways in which you hold space for one another, the ways in which you practice deep listening with each other, the ways in which you care, because these actions are far more than nice gestures. They're more than ways to feel good for ourselves or to, do something nice for someone else. By our actions, we are helping to grow healthy, holy human beings. May that be so.